The streets have been buzzing non-stop since the news broke. ABC News just reported on the dismissal of Drake's lawsuit, and the way they framed it felt like the final nail in a coffin that had been waiting to close for months. You could sense the atmosphere charged with a mix of shock, satisfaction, and disbelief as hip-hop fans were glued to their screens, witnessing this moment unfold like the climax of a long, chaotic film. The headline summed it up perfectly. The critically acclaimed hip-hop anthem at the center of the most famous rap feuds. That anthem is Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, a track that not only shook the culture but also transformed how rap history will be remembered. By the way, welcome to Celebrity Hip Hop Showroom, where hip-hop and celebrity drama never sleep. So hit that subscribe button so you never miss the mess. Let's get into it. When the judge banged the gavel and dismissed Drake's lawsuit, it wasn't merely a legal ruling, it was symbolic. It felt as if the universe was declaring, enough. Hip-hop has made its choice. Drake had attempted to retaliate, pulling strings behind the scenes and alleging defamation, emotional distress, and damage to his reputation due to Kendrick's song. But in that moment, it became clear to everyone. Kendrick didn't just win a rap battle, he triumphed in the narrative. He emerged victorious in the battle for truth. Let's rewind a bit. This all began months ago when the feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake escalated dramatically. What started as a few subliminal shots turned into a lyrical war. Kendrick came in with surgical precision, each line cutting deeper than the last, exposing and mocking everything that made Drake seem invulnerable. It transcended music. It became a blend of art and warfare. When Not Like Us was released, it transformed into more than just a song. It evolved into an anthem, a movement, a declaration that hip-hop still values truth, skill, and authenticity. Drake's empire was built on charm, catchy hooks, and broad appeal. But Kendrick brought something that can't be faked: passion, honesty, and that fierce poetic intensity that reminded everyone of what rap used to represent. When Drake tried to respond, it came off as desperate, like someone flailing in water. Each reply sounded weaker, each excuse more flimsy. People began to notice the cracks. But no one anticipated this lawsuit. It was Drake's last attempt, a bid to exert power where words had failed him. He filed it claiming that Kendrick and his team caused him irreparable harm with their lyrics and visuals, alleging they crossed boundaries by misrepresenting his image. ABC News picked up the story, and that's when the discussion exploded. Commentators referred to it as the metaphorical killing blow. Some suggested Drake was trying to save face, while others believed he simply couldn't handle being on the losing side for once. But when the court dismissed the case, the message was unmistakable. Even the system wasn't buying his act anymore. ABC's coverage added a layer of poetry to the situation. Their reporter referred to Not Like Us as the critically acclaimed hip-hop anthem at the heart of the most famous rap feuds. Consider that for a moment. A mainstream news outlet like ABC recognizing a diss track as a form of art. This illustrates the depth of the issue. Kendrick didn't just release a song, he transformed the cultural landscape. The anchors even pointed out that Not Like Us had become a symbol of triumph for authentic rap, emphasizing that lyrical battles still hold more significance than mere appearances. Meanwhile, the internet exploded with activity. Fans inundated social media, tagging the clip with phrases like "hip-hop won" and "the king remains the king." Although Drake's fans attempted to defend him, even they couldn't ignore the truth. He appeared defeated. Cameras captured him leaving the courthouse in silence, head down, hoodie pulled up, walking briskly as if he wished to vanish. His expression revealed the realization that the narrative had shifted away from him. Kendrick had taken complete control. Every detail, every headline. What made this moment even more impactful was Kendrick's decision to remain quiet throughout. No interviews, no tweets, no jabs. Just silence. That silence spoke volumes, conveying, "I've already said everything I needed to." While Drake was in a frenzy, Kendrick was in a state of reflection. This highlights the contrast between someone seeking validation and someone who is secure in their identity. Behind the scenes, sources close to the situation revealed that tensions ran high. Reports indicated that Drake's team attempted to negotiate a private settlement before the case was dismissed, hoping to avoid the embarrassment of a court defeat. However, Kendrick's team remained resolute and unwavering. An insider remarked, "You can't buy peace after disrespect, you have to earn it." When the judge dismissed the case, the atmosphere in the courtroom was electric, as if hip-hop itself had let out a collective sigh of relief. ABC News did not hold back, labeling it a defining moment in modern rap history. This is significant coming from a network that previously overlooked hip-hop disputes, now recognizing it as historical. This victory was not just for Kendrick, it was a win for authenticity, lyricism, and the art form itself. It demonstrated that sometimes, the truth conveyed through music can resonate more powerfully than any legal action. In Compton, murals of Kendrick illuminated the streets once more. Fans celebrated as if it were a national holiday, with DJs playing "Not Like Us" repeatedly at block parties. Clubs erupted with energy when the beat dropped, creating a palpable sense of pride and excitement, a feeling that genuine rap had triumphed over politics, money, and manipulation. One fan summed it up perfectly: "Drake might have lost the case, but he really lost the culture months ago." The judge's reasoning for the dismissal was strikingly straightforward. Artistic expression and cultural critique fall under protected speech. That single statement effectively dismantled Drake's entire argument, serving as a legal mic drop. What he deemed defamation, the court recognized as art. What he perceived as disrespect, the world acknowledged as truth. After the ruling, reporters sought comments from Drake's lawyer, but he declined to speak. Kendrick's team remained silent as well, except for a subtle smile from Dave Free, Kendrick's longtime collaborator, as he walked past the cameras. That smile conveyed everything. It was over, and the decisive blow had been struck. In an instant, social media once again hailed Kendrick as the king of hip-hop, trending worldwide. Even artists who had previously stayed quiet began to voice their support. Legends like Ice Cube and Nas shared cryptic messages that clearly favored Kendrick. Younger rappers who once idolized Drake began to shift their allegiance, referring to Kendrick as the people's champion. This wasn't animosity, it was a recognition of truth. Everyone could see that Kendrick was not merely rapping, he was standing for something genuine. But if you've been following this story, you know it's deeper than music. It's about what hip-hop stands for. It's about heart over hype, pen over press, substance over spectacle. Drake built his empire on playing the game. Kendrick built his on rewriting it. And that's why, even in silence, Kendrick's presence looms larger than ever. Word on the street is that this victory might mark the end of Drake's long dominance over the mainstream. Insiders say some brands have started distancing from the controversy, hesitant to back someone who's publicly taken this kind of L. Meanwhile, Kendrick's streams have surged again, his catalog climbing charts months after release. Not Like Us is being called the most impactful diss track since Hit 'Em Up. But unlike Tupac's raw aggression, Kendrick's was surgical, layered, poetic, the kind of hit you don't recover from. And yet, there's a quiet respect in all of this. Because deep down, everyone knows Drake fought hard. He just fought the wrong way. Lawsuits, PR plays, damage control, none of it could fix what was already broken. The people chose and the people spoke. Hip-hop made its judgment long before the court did. In the end, that's what ABC News meant when they said, hip-hop won. It wasn't about charts or awards. It was about the art, the culture, the soul. Kendrick Lamar remains the king of hip-hop, not because he said so, but because he proved it, through his craft, his discipline, his truth. Drake might still have fans, fame, and fortune. But what he lost can't be bought back: respect. And in this game, that's everything. Kendrick didn't just beat him in bars. He beat him in patience, in principle, in purpose. So now the story comes full circle. The gavel fell. The judge ruled. The world watched. And somewhere in Compton, you can probably hear that familiar beat echoing through the neighborhood. That heavy bass, that catchy hook, that anthem that turned a moment into a movement. Hip-hop won. Kendrick Lamar still reigns. And Drake? He's somewhere licking. Drake tried to laugh it off at first. He threw shade in his own way. Slick posts, cryptic captions, a few subtle bars that sounded tough on the surface. But everyone could see through it. The man was bleeding behind the mic. You could hear it in the hesitation, the tone, the silence that followed. And when he finally decided to lawyer up, that was the moment people realized this wasn't about rap anymore. This was pride versus power. When the case hit the court, it became bigger than music. It was culture versus control. Drake claimed defamation, said some of Kendrick's lyrics painted him unfairly, and even tried to argue that the track damaged his reputation. But let's be real, how do you sue someone for out-rapping you? For being too good? For saying what half the world was already whispering? That's the problem. You can't fight art in a courtroom. You can't copyright pain. And the judge saw that. The courtroom was packed that day. Reporters lined the hallway like paparazzi at an album release. Fans stood outside holding posters, phones out, live streaming every moment. Inside it was tense. Drake's lawyers laid out their case clean. Contracts, statements, even breakdowns of lyrics. But when Kendrick's team stepped up, it wasn't about paperwork. It was about principle. They argued that hip-hop had always been about expression, competition, and truth. And that no man, no matter how famous, had the right to silence another rapper for speaking his truth on wax. When the judge finally spoke, the room went still. No cameras, no talking, just silence. Case dismissed, she said. 2 words that hit like a gunshot in the air. The energy shifted instantly. The courtroom, the crowd outside, the internet, everybody felt it. This wasn't just a legal decision. This was confirmation. Hip-hop had spoken, and now the system had too. Kendrick didn't just win a case, he won the war. That's when ABC dropped their piece, calling it the metaphorical killing blow. That phrase alone told you everything. It wasn't about blood or violence. It was about dominance, legacy, and who truly stood at the top when the smoke cleared. Kendrick's name was now cemented not just in music but in history. He'd survived the diss records, the memes, the hate campaigns, and now the lawsuits. Every attack only made him stronger. Every move Drake made only dug the hole deeper. Meanwhile, people started noticing something about Drake. His energy was different. No more cocky interviews, no more sly jabs. He looked tired, maybe humbled. Some said he was embarrassed. Others said he was heartbroken. But the truth? He looked like a man who just realized that fame doesn't protect you from fate. Money can buy silence, sure, but it can't buy respect. The internet lit up. Memes flooded social media. Hip-hop, 1, corporations, 0. You can't sue the truth. Kendrick beat the system like he beat the beat. But beneath the jokes was something real. For the first time in years, people felt like hip-hop had taken its crown back from the industry machine. The art was pure again. The emotion was real. The culture was alive. And Kendrick? He didn't say a word. No post. No interview. Just silence. That silence spoke louder than any verse ever could. Because when you win this clean, you don't have to talk. You just let the world do it for you. Every outlet ran the same story. Kendrick remained king. The one man who didn't need a gimmick, a scandal, or a system to validate him. His words were his weapon, his truth his armor. Drake, on the other hand, started to fade into the background. The lawsuit had made him look like everything he swore he wasn't, soft. And in hip-hop, perception is everything. Once people start seeing you as weak, it's hard to get that edge back. His next few moves were quiet. No big singles, no interviews, no appearances. Just silence. Rumors started swirling that he was taking time off, maybe rethinking his image, maybe just licking his wounds. But the damage was done. People started replaying that anthem again, the one ABC called the critically acclaimed hip-hop anthem. Every replay felt heavier now. Fans quoted lines like scriptures. The metaphorical killing blow. It wasn't just a metaphor anymore. It was prophecy fulfilled. Kendrick didn't just out-rap Drake, he outlasted him. He stood tall through controversy, chaos, and courtroom battles, and still walked away untouched. Behind the scenes, some insiders said Drake was furious. Others said he felt betrayed by the system he thought would protect him. But deep down, even his closest friends admitted, he'd crossed a line trying to bring hip-hop to the courtroom. It wasn't about right or wrong anymore. It was about real versus fake. And no matter how you slice it, the streets don't respect paperwork. The story started spreading beyond hip-hop circles. News anchors discussed it on morning shows, professors used it in cultural studies, even non-fans started paying attention. It became a story about freedom of expression, about standing firm in your truth when the odds are stacked against you. And Kendrick became the face of that. Not just a rapper, but a symbol. Drake's fanbase, loyal as ever, tried to defend him. They argued about contracts, defamation, dignity. But you could feel the energy slipping. The same fans who once flooded comment sections now sounded unsure. They knew the era had shifted. The torch had passed, again. And while all this unfolded, Kendrick was seen in his usual low-key fashion. Hoodie on, head down, somewhere in Compton, still writing, still creating. No celebration, no public victory lap. Just work. That's the thing about kings, they don't announce their reign, they prove it. In the end, that ABC News segment wasn't just a recap of a lawsuit, it was a reflection of a culture reset. The moment hip-hop reminded the world that it's still about bars, truth, and respect, not lawsuits and PR spin. Hip-hop won. The article ended. Simple. Powerful. Because when the dust settled, there was no more debate. No more question of who ran the game. The judge dismissed the case. The people dismissed the excuses. And the crown stayed exactly where it belonged, on the head of Kendrick Lamar, the man who let his art speak louder than any argument. Drake might have money, fame, and followers, but in that courtroom, in that moment, he lost something you can't buy back: respect from the culture that built him. And as he walked out of that building, cameras flashing, reporters shouting his name, it was clear, he wasn't walking away as the victor. He was walking away as the reminder of what happens when ego meets reality. Kendrick didn't just win a lawsuit, he won an era. The king remained. The throne never shook. And hip-hop, once again, proved that the truth can't be sued, censored, or silenced. It always finds its beat. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on the story.